Hey guys, Coach Brandon Krause here. Got a cool one for you today. I'm going to teach you something that my original trainer, Katie Grote, really instilled in me, and that's having an educated lead hand, hooking off the jab, and being able to put together shots off that lead hand. So stay tuned. So having an educated hand, right? What that means is that you're able to come with many angles off that same hand. Let's start with the double jab. Now, when I say double jab, what I am not saying is two jabs, because it's not two jabs. It's the single move of the double jab. Well, let me show you full speed. What's happening here is as I've taught you in the past, you're stepping in, you're committing to that jab, you're turning it over. But here's where it gets a little different. You're not going to bring it all the way back to your guard. You're only going to recoil it about halfway. You're going to give it about a half of a twist, and then you're going to bring that same twist back out. It is not push, it's twist. And that's very important in really getting some power and snap out of this shot, right? So I'm boxing with my opponent. Maybe I'm putting that single jab out there, the single jab, and then when I put that different cadence of that double jab, I have an opportunity to get that second jab in. It's really effective for getting me into position. It's really effective if my opponent had been countering my single jab. It's much more difficult for them to counter my double jab. I didn't say impossible, I said more difficult, all right? So there's that double jab. So it's important that you master that double jab first before we work this technique, and that's hooking off the jab, right? And this puts a left hook, a power shot behind that jab, and it makes it much more devastating. So the double jab look like this, bing, bing. The jab hook is gonna look like bing, bop, bing, bop. And what's happening here is that same kind of setup. I step into position, turn that shot over, have a full extension, chin down, hands up, elbows in, the whole 9 yards. I'm still giving it a half recoil and a half rotation back. But here now, as I come back out, I turn it into a hook at that point. So it's jab, halfway back, left hook. And the way that I'm going to power that shot is via this rotation of my hips. Step in here, and as I'm recoiling, I'm going to start my hip first. Hip goes before my fist even moves, and then from 0 to 100 miles an hour, that hook comes. So it's jab, hook. And really notice that rotational action I'm getting out of my hip there. On that same vein, a little bit more difficult, is the jab uppercut, right? And that lead uppercut is one of the harder shots to master in the first place. It's certainly hard to master throwing it off the jab, but you can kind of have that same benefit because you're putting a real power shot behind that jab. And it's really the same concept. Stepping in, getting that jab off, establishing a distance, hopefully getting my opponent to have to deal with that. And now I'm able to come from underneath and land that uppercut. So I got one of my young champions, Sebastian, here. He's going to help me demonstrate that with a real live body, all right? So let's say I've been boxing with Sebastian. I've been throwing the jab at him, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's using that parry in order to defend. So let's show him that, Sebastian. So he's parrying, right? And I notice he's creating somewhat of an opening, and he's got to be careful when he does the parry technique also, because what I could do is he could parry that first one, and when I recoil that shot, I can come with that second jab before his hand comes back into position. Likewise, I can do with that hook. I can go jab, hook. And you see that commitment to the parry is what's going to help land that left hook. Let's say he's doing a different technique. Let's say he's trying to slip one of those shots. Well, that would be the time to go jab, uppercut. Really kind of anticipating where I think that head is going to come. And it's not two separate shots. I'm not going jab, hook, because that'll give him too much of an opportunity to see the shot coming. I'm doing it, like I said, in terms of it being one motion. All right? You get good at that, you can even start feinting the jab and really essentially having the same biomechanics in order to get that shot. I can feint the jab, it goes for the parry. And now I got that hook. And it was that same idea of turning that straight shot into that curved arc shot and using my hip to gain the power. Just a little review. First and foremost, master your jab. Coming out, turning it over. It's so important that you have this rotation, because when you finally start doubling up on it, or putting a hook behind it, or putting an uppercut, or putting a body shot, it's all gonna come off of that commitment to the rotation and turning your shot up. Hope you can use these techniques. Like and subscribe.